Hello, my name is Melissa Romo, and today we're going to review user-defined function. Previously, we had created MATLAB scripts. Functions allow for more generalization and requires the user to input the necessary information when calling the function. Functions can also be called in scripts. Now let's go over the basic format of a function. You begin with function, and then you put the output argument or arguments equals the function name with parentheses the input arguments, and these should be separated by commas. Here you put the comments describing the function. This should tell the user how to use the function, any restrictions, and what the function will return. This is displayed when help function is typed into the command window. It's also important to note that the function name must exactly match the name of the .m file when you save. When you save it, MATLAB automatically does this. Just be sure not to change the name. Also, it's case sensitive, so I have function name here with a capital F and a capital N, and that is the exact same way that you see it displayed here when I saved it as the .m file. Now let's use the built-in MATLAB function help to see what's going on with function name function. So here you can see the comments. This is this comment block or the help block, and that's what's displayed when you type in help and then the function name. After the comments, you put your statements here. These must include putting a value in the output argument. So this is where you're going to do your calculations and any of that. You must end the function with the end statement, just like you would end a for loop, a while loop, or the if-else statements. Now that we've gone over the basics of the format, let's do a previous example, now using function instead of a script. These will be very similar to the scripts, but we no longer need to ask the user to input the input argument using MATLAB's input function. The user will have to do so when calling the function. We can see how the function allows for more generalization. Before we created a multiplication table in the shape of a triangle with a set amount of rows, namely 5. Using functions, the user can easily input any number of rows and the triangle multiplication table will be created for that many rows. So let's do that now. Function of multiplication, this is our output argument, equals triangle mult table, which is the function name, and our input argument is rows. This function returns a multiplication table in the shape of a triangle, which means that the number of rows is equal to the number of columns. The format of call is triangle mult table of rows, where rows is any positive integer. So now that we've set up the help comment block, we're going to begin the function of actually calculating and displaying the multiplication table in the shape of a triangle. So we begin with a for loop going through the rows. I equals 1 through however many rows. So here, whatever number the user inputs for rows, that's how many rows there's going to be based on the I here. For j equal to 1 through I, and this is because the number of columns in each row is equal to the row number, and then we have multiplication equals I times j, just as we had before, and then we want to f(f) %d, which is the placeholder for an integer with a space, so that all the numbers don't run together. And that's the variable multiplication that we want displayed there. End the column for loop. Before we can end the row for loop, we want to move it to the next line. So we want to f(f) a new line. This is the end of creating the triangle multiplication table. But now we have to end the function, and we cannot forget to do that. So the only change from the script that we had created previously for this is that I is going from 1 to the number of rows that the user inputs here instead of 1 to 5. And we also added this line of function, the help comment block, and this end, which ends the function. Before we can run this function, we must save it. So save, and you can see here that it saves automatically with the name being the same as the function name here. So we don't want to change that, we just want to make sure it's in the right folder, and we save it. You can see here. Now we're going to call it in the command window, try mults table, the format name, and we're going to say we want a output with 7 rows. You can see here that we have the triangle multiplication table for 7 rows. And it says that this answer is 49 because that's the last output for multiplication that MATLAB had. So that's not important for us here. Now that we've gone over the basic format for user-defined functions and an example, here are some assignment problems for you to practice. The first problem, you're going to use this equation to find the length of the third side of a triangle with the user input the first side, the second side, and the angle between the first and second sides. You're going to display your results like this. The second problem is writing a function that will create any m by n matrix multiplication table. And then you're going to change every other element of the matrix into a 0. If after struggling with these problems you are not able to successfully complete them, or if you have any questions on this topic, please join me at the next SI session where I will be able to assist you. Thank you so much for watching.